I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're talking to an amazing author. Her name is Gina Mendoza. She is a mom, she's a speech therapist, and she is an author as well. And she has penned a powerful book. It is called Mommies Get Scared Too. It is inspired by her own courageous battle with cancer. Gina's book aims to help those children understand that even moms can experience fear. Through tender prose and relatable illustrations, the story follows a resilient mother as she navigates the emotional and physical challenges of her diagnosis and recovery. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put her in the spotlight today, and we ask viewers like you to support authors like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her amazing book. The links are below this interview. Gina, great to see you here today on Spotlight.
Nice to see you.
You look great, you look healthy, you look vibrant. So obviously you've made a full recovery, which is wonderful news for both you and your children, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
that is.
without a doubt. When did you get the diagnosis and how old were your children?
So I got the diagnosis when my youngest had just turned 1, a week after his first birthday.
Okay. And how
Mhm.
old was your oldest?
My oldest, he was 11, 10 then, sorry, 10.
So your oldest is fully aware of what's going on at 10. Your 1-year-old has no idea, obviously. And your middle child was how old?
He was 6 at the time.
6, and he's got a good idea now when mom's not feeling great or there's some bad news in the house. What was it like telling them about your illness?
Well, initially I was trying to find a book to ease a conversation. I looked on Amazon. There was nothing out there that helped with what I needed it to be.
Hmm.
And so I ended up having to just flat out tell them what was
Mhm.
going on. I am just upfront and honest with them. They had questions. I answered their questions. And then during this time that I was diagnosed, surgeons were just trying to catch up from their COVID surgeries. So my surgery was pushed out for 5 months. So I got the diagnosis, and then they told me for they just basically made me wait for 5 months. So I did not know whether the cancer had spread. I knew nothing. All I knew was I had cancer, had to have surgery, and then we would know more after the surgery. So those 5 months of waiting were really agonizing because you just didn't know. So
Exactly.
every day, yes. So
It was a
it was
tough
a very.
time too. You're
Mhm.
sick, there's a pandemic, you need surgery. You can't get surgery because of that pandemic. You're going into the hospital where there's lots of people with COVID. So it's a tough time. And I imagine it was stressful for both you and your children.
Very stressful.
Without a doubt. So you go through it. How long is the whole process from the diagnosis to the surgery to recovery?
So it was a 5 month waiting period from the diagnosis to the surgery. And then when I had the surgery, I spent one night in the hospital. Then they send you home. And this recovery took me about 3 months to fully recover, just because they didn't really put drains in it. It was a little bit different of a surgery. And then there was a lot of physical therapy afterwards. After my surgery, it was really hard to get full mobility to look up. And so I had to go to a lot of physical therapy to regain neck mobility, to be able to turn and feel comfortable driving.
Exactly. And for the folks at home, you had papillary thyroid cancer, which is the gland in your neck. So that's
Mhm.
where the surgery took place, which is why you had mobility issues with your neck. So it was
Yes.
a tough time. And mommies do get scared too, even though they seem invincible to their children. When did you decide to put this down in book form and tell us about the writing process?
So 3 weeks after my surgery, I woke up one morning and decided I'd write a book about it.
Mm.
And I sat down and I spent 4 hours writing the rough draft. And then I spent the next 2 months just kind of perfecting it before I decided to look for publishing companies. I found a local publishing company that accepted my book. And from then, it took from February to November. Its release date was November 2nd for the whole process to come together.
Wonderful. And there's the book next to you. It's got a beautiful cover, beautiful illustrations throughout. Give the folks at home an overview of what the story is.
So basically, the story is just about the struggles a mom goes through, the small fears leading up to the big fears. So something as simple as, them walking into another aisle while you're shopping, you're scared they're going to get, kidnapped or, things like that, to leading up to now there's a real fear. Now I have a diagnosis of some sort, and it's a different kind of fear, still in the category of being scared.
And how do you think this will help children?
Well, the way I wrote my book is not only did I write it so the parents reading it can resonate with it, however, every page has a teaching tool for the child. So they're able to learn from every experience. So these are just common things that mothers get scared when it comes to their children. And it offers a reason why, and I guess the solution for the child, why they shouldn't do those things and how they can improve.
Just a couple of examples or one example of something that children shouldn't do and how they can improve and why it's a fear mommies have.
One of the fears, again, a very common thing was the shopping. We're shopping, they want to go to the toy area. Sometimes they run off without letting, me or, a mother or a grown up know. And, in that specific scenario, I wrote children shouldn't do that because it's not safe for anybody. It's not safe for them running off, and they can either get hurt or somebody can take them. So it's just best to stay close to their parent, so that way they can ensure their safety.
And that's a great lesson for kids because that's something every kid wants to do. Mom, I want to go to the toy aisle. And you're tempted because you want to just continue shopping. And if they'll be distracted for a few moments, that's fine. But there is stranger danger out there. So it's good for children to be alert. And of course, parents to be alert as well. So this is a great book to provoke conversations between you and your child on a variety of issues, right?
Yes.
And this was something you were seeking, but it didn't exist when you wanted to have a conversation with your child about surgery. When it comes to the surgery part, when it comes to the illness part, tell us about that aspect of the book and how you present that to children in the book.
So the way I present it is, we, I lead them up to it, and then once we get to that part, I introduce it in the sense that there's times when, moms have to go to doctor's appointments and things like that, and sometimes they get news that isn't so great. And I explained some of the things that I had to go through, the biopsy, in a more kid friendly manner. And I explained the surgery. There is a portion where, in the page, I'm on the operating table, and it just explains, like, I had courage. I went through it because that was what needed to be done to get better. And how I thought about my kids, while I was there, and how, I guess, the love I had for them helped me overcome the fear that I was going through while I was laying there. And it just kind of gave me the strength to push forward and accept what it was, and try to do what needed to get done so I can get healthy.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, that's great. Great lessons for children in there. How did your own children fare during this time in your life?
I think they were pretty scared. My middle child was probably the most scared. My older child, he doesn't really show too much emotion, so he just would choose not to talk about it. My middle child was pretty sad. He was really worried. He made me a card the day before my surgery, to help to say, he hoped I had a great surgery and a good recovery.
Wonderful. That must be a cute card. I hope you hung on to that one.
Oh, of course.
Absolutely. Well, sounds great. Well, this book is an important book for children. If you're going through anything in your life and you need to have a conversation with your child to help them understand what mommy is going through, this is the book for you. It's called Mommies Get Scared Too. It's written by Gina. It's inspired by her own courageous health battle. And the book aims to help children understand that even moms experience fear, and tries to break down the reasons why to help children understand and then perhaps behave in a way that'll help mommy have less fears and children feel more secure. It's a wonderful read, beautifully illustrated as well. Is this the start of your writing career? Are you going to write more, Gina?
I do. I'm working on another one to follow the same title, like Mommies Get Scared, just um the mommies get, tired is one of the ones I'm working on right now. And that one's gonna be to showcase how we get tired.
Exactly. Mommy and daddies get exhausted. They fall asleep in front of the TV from working hard. Yeah, without a doubt. That sounds like a great one too, Gina. Thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate your time. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.